the voice of your community. 107.3 HFM.
107.3 HFM. We are live and local at the Armadale Let's Connect Expo.
And it's a lovely day.
It's a lovely day.
I'm going to cut you off so you can't say it anymore.
You're with Tony and Kay?
Yes, and thank you to James Ray, who's in the studio pushing our buttons for us. We love that. Thanks, James. The other James, James Wilson, has gone inside to schmooze and see if he can wrangle the last of our guests and interviewees for this afternoon, which is fabulous. But in the meantime, we have Ashley here. Ashley is from APM Employment Services. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Kate.
Yeah, and I know that you've been here before and we had a chat and then you went away and you've come back. So, yes, I appreciate your time coming back to talk to us again.
No, I really appreciate being here, have the opportunity to tell you about what we do.
Excellent. Now, I know that you work with what used to be called the NEIS program. Now, the NEIS program is very dear to me because a friend of mine and my daughter both went through the NEIS program, and it was so good. It was almost like some sort of scam that was set up because they got to figure out a business idea, and then they got paid to do the business idea. They got mentored through the business idea, and if it's the same as it used to be, then any profits that they made from their business during that time, they could have on top of the payments that they were receiving. It's an amazing, and you're nodding, it was an amazing, I thought it was some sort of secret thing, but here you are, and it's now called self-employment assistance. So you have to be, I'm just talking, you can have a chance in a second. You have to be eligible, but tell us about the program and how you are eligible for it.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right, Kay. Self-employment assistance is the new name for the new enterprise incentive scheme, or affectionately known as NEIS, that was started in mid-1985, so it's coming up to its, it's 38 years strong, and every few years the government updates it, so it's pretty similar to what your daughter would have gone through.
Right.
You tell me what you'd like to know about it.
I was just so impressed with how it worked, and I think you were telling me that there's a very wide variety of types of business enterprise that fit into this particular scheme, like musicians, artists.
Absolutely.
My daughter came through doing event management and catering. A friend of ours came through doing photography. So you really just need a business model that can be sustainable, that has some chance of success.
Yeah. There's a couple of that. It's become more varied in what it can do. So their self-employment assistance can take the form of exploring self-employment workshops, business plan development, free accredited small business training, business advice sessions, business health checks, and small business coaching.
Because we all know that the businesses in their first year don't do very well statistically, do they? Is it something like about 80% failure rate?
70 to 80% failure rate. But if you can get into any kind of coaching program, that statistic flips around to about an 70 to 80% success rate of people still being in business at the end of their first year. So. Yeah. I mean,
and then I think the success rate after 4 years is also improved if you've actually gone through a process where there's some mentoring and some support in that early year.
I haven't got any statistics on that, so
you can trust me on it.
I don't want to make claims I can't back up.
Excellent. So how would somebody be eligible for a program like this?
Okay, so I'll whiz through the eligibility. You've got to be over 15 or over 18 to access the small business coaching. You've got to be an Aussie citizen.
Sorry, you have to be over 15.
Yep, over 15.
That's amazing. So we can have 15-year-old entrepreneurs coming through this program. Next Bill Gates.
So it's coming out of basically year 10 is what they're...
Yeah, but to do the training, they need to be over 18.
Okay.
All right, so they need to be Australian or the holder of certain permanent visas. They need to not be an undischarged bankrupt. They need to be not in education or employment for more than 25 hours a week, other than the business that they're planning or already in. And we might identify some other requirements along the way, but that's the basic ones for the individual. When it comes to the business, it either has to be a new business or a business idea, or one that's been going a little while and perhaps not operating terribly successfully, that potentially could operate successfully. So we need to be able to, by the time they do a business plan and set of financial tables, which is a financial plan for a couple of years, we'd be assessing it as viable. And providing we can assess it as viable, they'll be eligible for 12 months of mentoring. A couple more requirements. It's got to have an independent business structure. It has to be a lawful business. It's pretty much...
that seems like a reasonable requirement, yes.
Yep. Lawful and capable of withstanding public scrutiny, because, as you know, our government doesn't want to be attached to anything with a smell attached to it. And it's got to be established and operated solely in Australia. Now, you were talking about
those parameters that's a low bar. Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
You think most people would be able to step over that pretty easily if they've got a solid business idea. That's amazing.
Absolutely. One of the things that you talked about was the assistance. Now, that's quite separate from the assistance. So there's a really wide variety of people who are eligible for it. Some people are eligible for the financial assistance that comes with it.
Right, okay.
And so if you're on any kind of a Centrelink payment and you want to do this, now generally speaking, when you're on a Centrelink payment, if you make any income outside of your payment and you declare every fortnight,
yes,
the government says, right, we'll have 30 cents of your payment for every dollar back. Well, with the self-employment assistance payment, if you're eligible for it, and I'll explain that in a sec, then you get to keep the entirety of your allowance and earnings, apart from tax, of course.
Yes.
Over the 9 months that you're in the program, and so long as you're meeting the eligibility as you go through the program, which is like some.
That's why I said it's almost like a scam. It's a fantastic program.
Yeah. I mean, there are not many government programs that have been going this long. Now, APM is one of two providers in the area that's covered in your broadcast area. There's 51 employment regions around the country, and the government every few years they tender and they award the contract to two or more providers in each area.
Yeah, so you're just one of the providers of a number that people can go to.
Correct.
Can you just step back a step? When Jess was doing as part of NEIS, she came out of it with a Cert 3 in microbusiness. Is that still the case? Do you still come out with a qualification of some sort?
Similar.
Right.
So, to get onto the mentoring, we can fast track you by just doing a business plan and set of financial tables. However, you can also enrol in some nationally recognised training, initially called the Micro Business Skill Set. And that is the first 3 units of a certificate in micro enterprise and entrepreneurship.
Right.
Complete the micro business skill set, you're allowed to enrol in the remainder of the Cert 4. And all of that is provided free of charge to eligible
people. And of course, a Cert 4 could be an entry pathway to university or TAFE or something else after that.
I believe so.
Don't take my word for it, but research that. And that was how, my Jess got into uni, was through the NEIS program, getting that certificate, getting a certificate from another RTO, and then through to uni. So an amazing pathway. Yeah.
And I mean, look, I've seen this before where young people perhaps haven't done all that well at school, but they've turned around and they've got some nationally recognised vocational training and used as a pathway to university. And it's a great story.
Yeah, look, it's not just for kids that don't do well at school. Our daughter was doing very well at school, at a very good school, but she didn't really want the whole, you really need to drop all of your sports and everything because you need to focus exclusively on your year 11 and 12.
Yeah.
We found this pathway. She came out with a Cert 3, a Cert 4, and then went straight into uni without all that stress that would come from everything else.
Yeah.
So, not that high school isn't fantastic for the right students, but this is a very interesting pathway for people who might want a different choice.
Absolutely.
So actually, we need to wrap this up, but just let us know. You've mentioned that APM Employment Services is only one way that people can approach this, approach the self-employment assistance. But if they want to get in touch with you, how would they do it?
Okay, so they can email me, ashley.hassel@apm.net.au, and I'll spell that just because it's a bit of a challenging one, ASHLEY.HASSELL@apm.net.au.
So the important bit being the double S and the double L? Yep.
Correct. They can call me on 0437 121 511. If I can answer, I will. If I can't, I'll call them back.
Excellent. And I presume they can get hold of you on a website?
They definitely can. They can get lots of information and even apply for the program by going to apm.net.au/self-employment, and they can go to the government website www.dewu.gov.au/self-employment-assistance.
Otherwise, Google it. Yes.
Otherwise, Google it. That
Amazing,
works.
Ashley. It's been such a delight having you on. I hope you have some wonderful success with that program, and thank you for being involved in that. I know that you're providing a lot of pathways for people who will be delighted. So thank you ever so much.
And thank you so very much for having me, and I look forward to catching up with you guys again soon.
Amazing.
Pleasure.
You are
107.3
live and local.
HFM.